Riding a bike, anybody can do. I mean, no big deal. I believe riding a bike is like, it's no big deal at all. But it's in logistics.
Exactly.
It's the documentation. Which country expects what that you should be having? That at the border, when they ask you, you should smilingly give that. And that makes them comfortable. Oh, this guy is completely prepared with whatever is required. Remember my failure in Kenya?
Exactly.
That was my only failure.
1988 probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. I say this very proudly. That was my only failure. I'll be very brutal here. Leh Ladakh is getting ruined in the name of ecotourism. Atal Tunnel was blocked because of snowfall. But in spite of that, people were trying to fight with the administration there, saying, "हम जा सकते हैं ना, क्यों नहीं जा सकते? भैया बंद है उस तरफ से, snowfall हुआ है." But then people want to go. Why? Why do you want to fight the administration? Going to the same place again and again. I know my friends who said, "This is my 15th trip to Khardungla." Why? 15 times you go and you're doing what? And if I have to do a fair comparison between 1991 to 2024 in the Leh Ladakh region, it's absolute chaos. People will eat Maggie. There is a bin, but nobody uses the bin. It's all thrashed around. I have footages from Baralachala wherein, it is absolute madness. Can you imagine a beer bottle being thrown on the ice there? Snow? If our people are able to ride all the way to Umlingla spending hundreds and thousands of rupees, are you not able to pay 10 rupees or 15 rupees for the upkeep of the toilet? So every month you are collecting 17 to 15 or whatever number of trash bags, which means you are only leaving the place clean for somebody else to come and trash it again. We are at a stage where Samadhana Beda Danda. Samadhana Beda is gone out of the window. Now it's only Danda. 10 or 20 is a lost case. We have ruined it completely.
Okay.
In 2 years, in case these authorities there don't bring up the Danda and start whipping at tourists doing these things, it's a lost case. As I told you earlier, Shashank, it's a big, beautiful world. It's a very, very big and beautiful world, and one life is not enough. You need to dream. You need to have big buckets full of lists in it. And it's like a lucky draw.
Pick it up.
Okay,
and, travel.
This is what I want to do. Yeah.
Namaskara, ನೀವು ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪರ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಶೋ. If you're watching this episode, make sure you go back and watch the part 1 of our episode with Sri Deepak Kamath Sir. In this episode, he has brutally shared his observations during his travel adventures about how humans have caused damages to our environment in the name of tourism. I'm pretty sure after watching this episode, you might become an eco-friendly traveler. So again, sir, you mentioned that you took a break from 1995 till the recent 2015.
Yeah.
20 years break for your social life, for your personal life.
It's family. It's personal time. Yeah. Downtime. Let's say you can call it a sabbatical from adventures.
Okay. And then you again started traveling.
Yeah. So, thanks to my wife, who said if not now, when? Okay. And bought me a motorcycle. Helped me buy a motorcycle of my choice, and then we traveled. 2015. There's been no looking back.
Okay. Yeah. And what is your very recent, travel experience which you had, across many countries or something?
See, one thing I was on a back-to-back spree of traveling around the world, right? I started off with the Stan countries, Uzbek, Tajik, Kyrgyz, Kazakh, Mongolia, and Russia. And as soon as that happened, 2018 was the Americas.
Okay.
US, Canada, US, then Mexico, Guatemala, and blah, 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 blah.
Again,
all the
north
way.
to south.
Yeah, and all the way down to Ushuaia.
Yeah.
And 2020 would have been the Euro-African Odyssey, wherein I would have started my ride from Norway and wound down all the way down to Africa. But unfortunately, COVID happened. But in spite of that, I managed to get on the KTM 390 adventure, which was just about then launched, and did the 4 corners of my country. Started from Bangalore, went to Koteshwar, which is the westernmost point of our country. Then I wanted to do Khardungla, but then the roads were not yet open. I could go only up to Gulaba. on the old Rotang Road, and then come down to Kibitu on the eastern side of our country. Saw the first sunrise hitting our country at around 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
At a place called Dong, and then come down to Kanyakumari. So these were that was the four corners of my country on the KTM 390 adventure. And simultaneously, then I was trying to reach out to the Ministry of External Affairs, by which time, unfortunately, we had lost Madam Sushma Swarajji. She had passed, and Mr. Dr. Jaishankar had taken over, and I was trying to reach out to his office for support in getting my visas, because none of the countries I approached were issuing travelers tourist visas.
Okay, this was for the...
This is for another dream ride of mine, which would take me across the continents of Africa and Europe.
Wow, again, northernmost tip of Europe.
The idea was the southernmost tip of the African continent to the northernmost tip of the European
like
continent.
this.
But the idea was still, like I would have come down north to south, starting from northernmost tip of the European continent and coming down all the way to the southernmost tip of the African continent. The plan was still that, and hence I was trying to reach out to the offices of Dr. Jaishankar. But obviously, mails went unattended. They did not really respond to my emails. And almost simultaneously, I was reaching out to my friend circle. Hey, anybody can help? And then I can take two names here. Rishwans Raghavan and Chinmay Nadik. These are two good friends who connected me to the office of our own MP, Tejasvi Surya ji. And one fine day, I get a call from his office. I remember speaking to his chief of staff, Mr. Arvind. And he said, why don't you come down and have a chat with our MP? So a time was fixed, and my wife and me, we both went to Mr. Tejasvi's office. He patiently heard our entire journey. This was in the month of August 2021. This is to be noted. August 2021, we met Mr. Tejasvi Surya himself. His chief of staff and his other staff members were also there. I told him that, I've been writing to the External Affairs Ministry and I've not really got any response, and none of the embassies are issuing tourist visas. So immediately, Tejasvi Sir spoke to Mr. Arvind and said, why don't you take this forward?
Okay.
August, sometime by beginning of September, I get calls from the Ministry of External Affairs.
Okay.
And there are different people calling me from different regions to whom Africa is allocated.
Okay.
Africa is divided into south, west, east, and north. So I get calls from them, and in no time, remember, this is August. We placed our request with
October
Tejasvi's
and
office.
September.
November 23rd,
Okay.
my wife and me are flying to Durban.
Wow. Okay.
And all my visas, all my documentation is in place. August, let go of August. Nothing happened in August. It's just the meeting. September, October, half of November. 2.5 months. All the required visas.
From how many countries are?
Initially, I got from about 7 countries.
Okay.
And then there are, it was a long journey. So, but then the interesting part was every diplomatic mission along our road was intimated about our travel.
Okay.
And when I reached a particular country, I made it a point to reach to the diplomatic mission, meet the ambassador, pay my regards, take a picture, and then move on. And they used to say, we are aware, we were expecting you. Where is your wife?
Okay.
So, other than South Africa, by now, because of the time and the weather conditions, I had flipped my journey from Euro-African Odyssey to Afro-European Odyssey, which means I would start from Africa and then wind my way up to Europe.
Okay. So again,
My wife was part of my travel in South Africa. We celebrated 25 years of marriage at the southernmost tip, which is Cape Agulhas. It's all about planning. Riding a bike, anybody can do. No big deal. I believe riding a bike is like, it's no big deal at all. But it's the logistics.
Exactly.
It's the documentation. Which country expects what that you should be having? That at the border, when they ask you, you should smilingly give that. And that makes them comfortable. Oh, this guy is completely prepared with whatever is required. And that is something I believe I have learned and evolved over time. Remember my failure in Kenya?
Exactly.
That was my only failure.
1988 probably.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I say this very proudly. That was my only failure.
Okay.
And rest of the things, thankfully, I believe the Indian diplomacy has evolved so much that today the blue passport is treated with so much of respect. So when I place my passport, this is something that happens in the US. I carry 6 passports. And of course, the other 5 are invalid. They have lapsed. But I still carry them because when I keep my 6th passport at the immigration counter, the immigration officer will not look at that.
Exactly.
He'll look at me and we get into striking a conversation about the travels that we've had. And in the remotest possibility, it is possible that the person who's interviewing me at the counter, he and me would have been to one country or a place in that country. And we talk about that. Correct. Oh, I've been to Norway. Where have you been? The person behind us would be thinking, oh, this guy is getting grilled. Looks like he's getting deported. Because my conversation at the US immigration will last minimum of 10 to 20 minutes. We talk about places that we have traveled. We talk about interesting places that are there in that country to go.
Correct. I think this is something you have earned it through your traveling experiences, I guess, because
see, it's been a connect with people, I believe.
Correct.
Like take for example my Afro-European. If not for Mr. Tejasvi Surya and his office's intervention, that would have stayed a dream. Thanks to good friends Chinmay and Rishwans who were able to connect me to this office, and this office taking it to the External Affairs Ministry, External Affairs Ministry handing it over to the 4 undersecretaries, that 4 undersecretaries writing to the embassies of the countries that I intended to travel, and they reaching out. And in no time, embassies are calling me, where is your passport? Have you ever heard about a post-dated visa? I had one in my
okay.
The Kingdom of Morocco, the consular was so nice. He says, once it lapses, you may have to come back to your country. And they said, when do you think you will be in my kingdom? I said, I tentatively look forward to reaching the Morocco border from Mauritania between the 15th of April to the 15th of May. Then he asked me, would it be safe to give you a visa from the 1st of May to 3 months? Because I need to reciprocate India's diplomacy because India gives Moroccans 3 months.
Correct.
I said, that would be great. And I was at the Morocco border on the 3rd of May. That's planning.
Because
and my Schengen visa was again a post-dated 1-year visa, thanks to the intervention of Mr. Tejasvi's office.
Whoa, okay.
So April of, I would have gotten into, almost at the same time of Morocco. So my Schengen visa was given to me from April of 2022 to April of 2023. And I'm getting into Morocco, Europe on the 17th of May. And I have, long windows of travel. There's nothing like 180 days. My visas were exceptions.
Correct.
And this is, I would like to take this moment to thank our MP here, Tejasvi Surya ji, and his connects with the External Affairs Minister, Dr. Jaishankar, and his office, who facilitated seamless travel.
Correct.
As I said, riding a motorcycle is no big deal, but you're planning and making sure that you have your dates right, keeping to those days. And I would have planned for 35,000 kilometers between the southernmost tip of the African continent to the northernmost tip of the European continent. It ended up doing 57,000 kilometers across 39 countries. Now, if I have my visa, why not?
Correct.
And all along the road, like the diplomatic machines reaching out to their counterparts, the ambassador of India to Angola putting a security protocol, which is like you'll be given a convoy. These are unheard of things, giving me podium platforms to speak about my travels in Angola, Luanda, in Lagos, Nigeria, in Gambia. The list is endless. I can go on and on and on. But what I'm trying to tell here is, As an Indian, I feel proud that countries now stand up and look at our country in a much more different way. If I have to do a fair comparison of 1989 travel, wherein an Indian tourist would have had $500 endorsed on his passport, and at every border you're expected to show how much money do you have,
Exactly.
to now, wherein they just look at your passport and say, go.
Correct.
That exactly happened to me in Spain. When I got off the ferry and rode out into Spain, the immigration officer just looked at no seal, nothing.
Wow.
He just saw my passport, went into the visa page, saw my visa, go. That's it.
Okay. I mean, this is something, which not many people knows about, I guess. Back then it is, as far as, you've told, it used to be very difficult to travel across the globe in, with just, regular aeroplanes and something. And that's what you have done using your bicycle in first place.
Yeah.
And then, in your bike in second time.
Yeah.
And now you took a break for 2 decades and then you started again.
Yeah.
And now we have completed from southernmost tip of Africa to the northernmost tip of Europe, if I'm not wrong. And I think you have probably, seen all those northern lights and everything.
No, I mean, there are different seasons for northern lights. And when the northern lights pop up, you can't actually ride because it's snowing and
Correct.
the roads are all like, filled with snow. So, that's a touristy thing, That's on my bucket list probably one day.
Okay. Oh, you have something left on your bucket list, I think.
As I told you earlier, Shashank, it's a big, beautiful world. It's a very, very big and beautiful world. And one life is not enough.
Correct.
You need to dream. You need to have big buckets full of lists in it. And, it's like a lucky draw.
Pick it up
Okay.
and travel.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah. So again, so coming back to, your travel diaries again. So, sir, you have told that you have traveled across, the 4 tips of our country.
Yeah.
In 1994, if I'm not wrong.
1991.
1991?
Yeah.
And again, very recently also you again.
1991, I mean, see, for some reason, even today, I believe, the northeast of our country is a neglected region.
Okay.
A lot of people would want to do that Kanyakumari to Leh, Kanyakumari to Khardungla, Kanyakumari to here, Kanyakumari to straight up.
Correct.
Few people divert west towards Gujarat and Rajasthan, but still, they come to Delhi and then go up to Leh. Out of 100 people, even if I have to take my 100 own friends, from the social media circle, I can challenge that 95 people would be doing this.
Correct.
South to north, north to south, and southwest and north. And how many people would actually look at the eastern part of a country? And that's something that I woke up in 2015.
The Seven Sisters belt.
The Seven Sisters and the brother. And that's when I woke up in 2015. That's when I took my wife, let's go to Arunachal, and then went to Bhutan. And then let's go to Sikkim and then go to Nepal. And then on my 4 corners of my ride is when I actually went into the Seven Sisters. Reaching all the way up to Kibitu and then coming down to Tripura and, like Meghalaya, Nagaland and, So that area still needs a lot of exposure. People need to know how beautiful that place is. I've got some really beautiful content that I created, and I believe that that region is still pristine, not as commercialized as the Leh Ladakh region where I'm just back very recently. That was my most recent trip, and the very reason I went there was only because I had friends who I was hosted by a big group of bikers in Kinshasa in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And these guys decided to come to Ladakh and said, Deepak, we want you to ride with us. And that's when, I went there reluctantly. But for friends, there's always an exception. I mean, look at this way, Shashank, as I said, it's a big, beautiful world. Why would you want to waste your time and effort and money going to the same place again and again?
Correct.
I've been to that region in 91. I've been to that place, and seen the beauty of that region. And I moved on. And the next time I went to that region was 2020 during my 4 corners of the ride. And that was claustrophobic. Atal Tunnel was blocked because of snowfall. But in spite of that, people were trying to fight with the administration there, saying, हम जा सकते हैं ना, क्यों नहीं जा सकते? भैया बंद है उस तरफ से, snowfall हुआ है. But then people want to go. Why? Why do you want to fight the administration?
Correct.
But that's again for a different day. But coming down to going to the same place again and again. I know my friends who said, this is my 15th trip to Khadungla. Why? 15 times you go and you're doing what?
Correct.
Okay, understood that region is absolutely beautiful. But can you save your money and effort and try exploring the Northeast? Try going to Bhutan? Try going to Nepal? Lesser known places. I mean, you have the Lomanta, you have the Upper Masta, so many places here.
I mean, sir, again, you have traveled, if I'm not wrong, you had visited the northern part of India in 1991
and 2020.
Yeah. Is there any, there are differences, I'm pretty sure. But how do you bring that up?
There's a huge difference.
Okay.
Trust me, 1991. I'll share some pictures. Probably you can include that in this podcast.
Yeah, sure.
Travel was, if I have to circle back to those days, it was exciting. And people from the army were sporadically seen along the road, and we spent a lot of time with the army guys, slept in army tents. The feel was, it was a real adventure because you are on your own. I used to carry these TTK maps. I'm not sure how many people would even know that there was a company called TTK, which was, today TTK is doing prestige pressure cookers.
Okay.
I mean, they used to do it then too,
okay.
But they used to do maps too.
Maps, okay.
I used to have paper maps, books, and state-wise, region-wise. I mean, very handy book, very small. And we used to find a road and, ask people. So Google has come in and disconnected people. Today, people are just Google Map. You don't want to switch that off and ask people, भैया यहाँ से वहाँ कैसे जाएंगे? No. वहाँ यहाँ तक आने के बाद यहाँ से कुछ देखने के लिए चीज है? I mean, ಏನಾದ್ರೂ ನೋಡಕ್ಕೆ ಇದೆಯಾ ಬೈ ಕಡೆ? They used to tell you. And that used to be fun because you're going on a local guidance. Today, it's all Google driven. Somebody put a review and then you see the review and then carry on.
Correct.
91 travel, I believe, and I think it's now at this age, it's wisdom speaking. We should have slowed down. We should not have ridden for records. Now, around the world in 47 days, it may look exciting. Wow. I mean, but if I look back in those days, I believe we should have slowed down because the world is such a big, beautiful place. And I realized that, when we did, what we did was also fast, but relatively slower than what I did in 1991. 99 days, 51,000 kilometers. There's almost 6 months that took me across from the southernmost tip to the northernmost tip. There are people who spend years together doing that. But again, to each his own. But if people are trying to create and break records, I would request, give it a second thought. Try and do it more slowly and see the world around you before you move on. And if I have to do a fair comparison between 1991 to 2024 in the Leh-Ladakh region, it's absolute chaos. Khadungla Pass, which used to be the highest motorable road in the world, today it's dropped down to the second. And it's a picnic spot. People are selling, there are a few trucks selling Maggi and some hot drinks and whatnot. And people are just thronging, falling on each other. There's no respect for, a picture. Like, I don't want my pictures to be contaminated.
Correct.
I would call you as a contaminator in case you come into my picture without asking me. I invite you into my picture, it's fine. As friends we can. But when I want a picture, I want a picture. I don't want you in my frame.
Correct.
Today it's very difficult to get that. When I went there, and that too, the locals said, साहब आप 3 बजे के बाद ही जाओ वहां पे ऊपर, क्योंकि सुबह के टाइम में बहुत भीड़ रहता है.
Okay.
Because people leaving Leh would want to go to Nubra, passing Khadungla, and that morning will be chaos.
And what about the waste management? Is the government, taking care
If
of
there is anything, I don't see it. Because one thing, I'll be very brutal here because this needs to, the communication needs to be clear. Leh Ladakh is getting ruined in the name of ecotourism. Now, the way ecotourism, the way I understand, Now, very recently, I had done a ride on the Chetak, wherein I had encouraged my entire team not to buy or use plastic bottles, single-use plastic water bottles. And I carry a steel thermoflask and I have a UV cleaner with me, which was gifted to me by my daughter. I carry that even today. Water is from the table where the water is served, meaning the waiters drink water, the hotel guys, they don't drink any bottled water. They drink water from a source, right?
Correct.
So they are hale and healthy, nothing is happening. As an additional precaution, what I would do is I would put that water into my bottle and then, use my UV cleaner and I drink it. I have taken water from where pygmies are drinking in the Congo. Okay. I've been with the pygmies and they drink water from the stream and I've drunk water from the stream. And I'm here talking to you. Nothing has happened to me. So what is stopping you from doing something very similar? Worst case scenario, ask for a warm water. Every hotel will give you a warm water, but try and avoid the plastic bottle. Now, unfortunately, that is not what I saw. Leh Ladakh region, they have their own union. A two-wheeler that is being rented from Manali or Leh or Delhi cannot enter Leh. Or after Leh, he cannot go beyond, all these touristy circuit roads. That region is controlled by this union, guys.
Okay.
Who will not allow you until unless that bike is registered in your name. So, which means there is a protocol, there is some regulation in place wherein these union guys will not allow other bikes to go there, which means they run that area. Correct. So when you are running that area, you should be responsible for that region too, which I don't see that happening. Okay. Now, take for example, Khardungla. You have two trucks who are sandwiching the board, which says, welcome to the mighty Khardungla, blah, blah, at 17,800 or whatever. And people will eat Maggie. There is a bin, but nobody uses the bin. It's all thrashed around. I have footages from Baralachala wherein, it is absolute madness. Can you imagine a beer bottle being thrown on the ice there? Snow?
Seriously, sir?
Well,
because...
Exactly. And water bottles. Now, a plastic water bottle disintegrates into three components. One is the cap, one is the bottle itself, one is the wrapper. And all these are plastic. And nothing gets dissolved.
Correct.
It is there. And what is hard eating to your eyes is not the transparent plastic bottles. It's the Mountain Dew bottles.
Okay, the
neon green. Yeah. So they hit your eyes no matter how far they are. So that is an indication that there is plastic wastage. Now, my friend flew an FPV drone. Ideally, there are some restriction areas, but he flew it. If the database permits you to fly it, you can fly it. That's my understanding, because even I fly a bird. One of the rarest species found in the region of Leh Ladakh, and particularly near Hanle, is the black-neck crane.
Okay.
And incidentally, my friend captured the footage of a black-neck crane on his FPV drone. And I'm going to share that footage into this podcast.
Sure.
You feel free to use it. And you can see debris of plastic where the bird is plucking into the water for food.
Okay, this is in the glacier.
In Hanle. Okay. And Hanle has been opened to public after Umlingla. And Umlingla people, entire road is tarmac, and everybody, coming in from Leh to Hanle, Hanle to Umlingla, there's a tarmac road. If you are coming via Pangong and coming to Hanle, now that is it's gonna show your riding skills. But most of them would ride from Leh to Hanle, Hanle to Umlingla, because I've reached the highest motorable road in the world, all on a tarmac road. And plastic bottles are thrown all over. And Umlingla, highest motorable road wherein it has been opened for foreigners from this year or probably last year. I don't really know about these things. But when my friends went there and wanted to use the restrooms, the restroom conditions were pathetic. Wow. Now, let's not blame the governance here. The governance has put these facilities in place. But is there anybody to manage it? No. Unfortunately, no. Now, I remember my trips in Europe. wherein in case you're wanting to use a restroom, you bloody well pay for it. Nothing is free. If our people are able to ride all the way to Umlingla spending hundreds and thousands of rupees, are you not able to pay 10 rupees or 15 rupees for the upkeep of the toilet? What is stopping the management from asking 10 rupees from me? I'll definitely give it. But I need a clean and proper toilet. And you are allowing foreigners also from this year. It is an image of my country that is being taken back. Oh, I went to Umlingla, the toilets were so yuck. Do you want that? Wow, at that region, you should see the condition of the maintenance. Beautiful. Now, I want that to go back.
I think you're the first person to, brutally tell what it is.
I can,
there rather
Shashank,
than,
I can go on. But unfortunately, what needs to be really thought is, do we need to encourage single-use plastic? Why are we selling Coke and Pepsi and Bisleri and Aquafina and Kinley in these regions? Why? The glacial waters are so pristine and clean. Can't the governance of that particular union territory of Ladakh install, water dispensers along the journey, along the road? Boss, you carry a, steel bottle. You carry your own bottle. Fill water. And unfortunately, now this is something that I must say, the ride captains of, there are thousands of rental companies in Ladakh, Leh. And everybody, let's take for example, like you and me we'll fly into Leh. We will contact with a rental agency. They will give me, you and me, one bike. And here there's a ride captain. And you will say, what about my water? He says, you can carry bottle.
Okay.
So you will buy Aquafina bottles or Kinley bottles or whatever. And the grab rails of the bike.
Yeah.
Behind the pillion or adjacent to the pillion seat, there are grab rails.
Correct.
Now between the grab rail and the seat, there is a gap. So this bottle is squeezed into it.
Okay.
There's one bottle here, there's one bottle here, squeezed into it.
And they fall down, right?
Obviously. And you're not riding on, super expressways. You are riding in dirt. You are riding in, all Kachapaka road.
Honest.
And then, every jump, tuck, 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 it's gone. And you're riding ahead.
Okay.
But that's exactly, those bottles are thrashed along this region. And there are hundreds, if not thousands bottles that I have been a witness. Now, am I able to pick it up? My question is, why should I? I mean, a lot of people may say, so you are so ignorant about it. Absolutely. It is your responsibility. You as a tourist, you go ahead and you thrash up. You expect me to clean it? Why? Can't you have the sense to keep yourself clean?
Correct, sir.
Now, why should we be driving Swachh Bharat Abhiyan? I mean, if everybody is Swachh Bharat conscious, then we don't need, so much of a program to make cleanliness drive every now and then. We should be sensitive enough. When in Europe, there are trash bins and people just don't lower their windows and throw things out of the window. That's exactly what I've seen. People chocolate wraps, they put it into their pocket and empty it at dustbins. Why are we not able to do it?
I think this is something, where it should be implemented in our educational system in the ground level, I guess, because as you rightly said, we used to, start all these, cleanup drive and go pick up plastic and trash.
It's okay once in a while, yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, it's okay once in a while. I mean, this cleanup should be, it should be an awakening process.
Correct. But then we still see the plastic in the next day itself.
Absolutely. Sure. I went with one of the riding groups to a nearby place by the river, and we collected, I think, almost about 17 gunny bags of trash. And then I got to know that they do this, every month.
Wow.
So every month you are collecting 17 to 15 or whatever number of, trash bags, which means, you are only leaving the place clean for somebody else to come and trash it again.
Exactly.
Now, are we imparting any education to the people who come down here? I mean, we are at a stage where Sama, Dhana, Bheda, Danda. Sama, Dhana, Bheda is gone out of the window. Now it's only Danda.
Correct.
Until and unless you whip, nothing's going to happen is my take. I mean, my recent ride, if not for my friends, I would not want to spend my time and energy going to the same place again and again. My memories from 1991 has been fabulous. It's just been overshadowed by chaos and clutter from my most recent ride there. And I only wish the respective authorities Again, nothing should be made free, and you disconnect every single use plastic that is coming into your territory, because it is still not late. I have this double humpback camels in Nubra where I was filming,
Okay.
and unknowingly I've captured footage of so much of debris by the camel's foot, and the camel is trying to search for shrubs amidst the debris.
Deserts. Okay. I mean, that's too horrible, because I think it's now or never, I guess, because 10 or 20 years down the line,
No, I'm looking at 2 years.
2 years down
10 or 20 is a lost case. We have ruined it completely.
Okay.
In 2 years, in case these authorities there don't bring up the danda
Okay.
and start whipping at tourists doing these things, it's a lost case.
Whoa.
It's a gone case.
In this-
Trust me.
this
Because
Bangalore-
Hanley has been there only for a couple of years, where, the exodus of travelers on motorcycles and, whatnot, going there is only in the last 2 years when Umlingla was open. And Umlingla has been open since 21, 22 or whatever. And given that period from then to now, the place is unbearable.
So again, coming back to to your traveling diaries. So again, you told that you had been to places back in the 90s, and again now in the recent 2015 was that. So sir, do you see a difference? I think there is a lot of difference again. My question here is, what is that one message you would like to give it to the present day adventurers, or probably the travelers who are going in cars and bikes to all these tourist places?
Yeah.
See, is there any particular message as such?
Definitely, Shashank. I would like to take this platform to, probably convey a couple of sentences. One, in, back in pre-Google days, travel was more about connecting with what you want to see, what is it that you want to learn, meeting people. We used to get off the bike and, we used to be invited by, I'm sure I have pictures, but will I ever see them in my life again? It's a very, very remote possibility, right? People calling us and taking us to donut joints and, treating us with donuts while we exchange stories. It was more about a human connect. And I'm sure the single-use plastic was hardly there. And I can probably make a statement, it was never there.
Okay.
No water was sold. Even if water was sold, probably, maybe in some other form. I'm not sure, because I don't remember buying a single-use plastic bottle from those days. And definitely no social media. So fast forward to today, social media has ruined it. Everybody is an influencer. Everybody is, trying to talk differently.
Correct.
Everybody is trying to, gain those number of virtual followers.
Very true, sir.
Making statements about what to buy and what not to buy, depending on, what has been fed into his or her mouth. A lot of people ask me, you ride the Dominar, you ride the KTM 390, which do you think is better? I said, both are in their different segments. Why don't you take a test ride and satisfy yourself? I may have been sponsored that bike, but you are putting your hard-earned money. Now it's up to you to make an investment as an informed decision. Satisfy yourself, which is better. But of course, the pricing plays. I tell them the pros and cons, but I definitely would not want to influence a buy, because I'm riding an X brand. And coming to your travel, today it's all Google. Anybody, anywhere, first Google, point to point, point to point, point to point, and you're just...
Very true.
Are you seeing something? Are you slowing down? I mean, this is an example, like when I went with my friends, the ride captains had absolutely zero clue. I mean, I was feeling so bad about my visiting friends. You take a picture for a memory against a beautiful backdrop. You go to Mount Rushmore, you have the Rushmore behind you. You don't face Rushmore and take a picture, right? So that in your picture, there is Mount Rushmore behind you, behind.
Correct.
You can't take a picture with you facing Rushmore, right? So I tell these guys, whenever you want a good memory, you need to have a good backdrop.
So that take some time, stop, wind down, stop by that frame and, position your camera right and take a group picture or a single picture, whatever.
Correct.
So it's all about making memories. Travel is all about making memories. Otherwise, they're just gone. Tomorrow, you will not remember where you have ridden unless you have a picture and, like you sit back and how many people will actually take a print of the pictures taken?
Hardly, few, I guess, because
And leave people to make their own memories. Don't jump into anybody's frame. Decency has to really thrive. The reason that I feel my country lacks in these things, etiquettes, is because when we went to, I remember, and most noticingly, I observed, in the Familia, the Sagrada in Barcelona, I came to a point where, I wanted the entire Sagrada in frame. And I put my tripod, I told my wife, and my bike was there, my wife was there, and we were all trying to get the frame. And little did I realize there were about 4 or 5 people around us who were wanting to cross over and they were just standing. Okay. Because I was setting a tripod and I was wanting to take a picture and I did not want to come in my frame. Yeah, and I apologized so profusely because I didn't know that they were waiting for me. Because I was looking through the camera lens and trying to get that one single picture with my bike, with my wife, and I had to put my timer and run there, trying to find where should I stay there, and then the entire Familia de Sagrada in the frame. And there were people wanting to cross over, but they were waiting. I wish that happens in my country too. And when on a recent ride to Leh Ladakh, I didn't see that. And that hurts. Everybody is there to take a picture. Take a picture and move on. And now here it's like, the social media reels, everybody's trying to do the dirty dancing there.
Exactly.
We have lost it.
And they do it for the sake of, Instagram stories or probably,
we've lost it.
To impress someone. I think that's where, we have lost it.
Yeah.
Sir, now I have a very quick rapid fire round. I'll just, shoot out some questions.
Okay. So answers are yes or no?
Yes or no? It's a mixture, okay? Okay, I'll start, okay? Which is the most challenging terrain which you have driven?
As of today, Shashank, I have got 8 most dangerous roads in the world of the 10. Okay. Now, I have not categorized this. The overland community across the world have named these roads as the most challenging.
Okay.
And out of the 10 most, I've done the 8 most.
Okay, and among those, which would be the most challenging one?
See, for me, the road that has not been categorized is my ride in Antarctica. Those 11 kilometers, which were absolutely defying. That really tested my riding skills because touchwood, so far, I think I have close to about 600,000 kilometers of riding around the world. I have not dropped my bike.
Wow.
Yeah, I have not dropped my bike. Yeah, I have had one accident that was in 1994 when I was riding the Nullarbor highway in Australia on my round the world trip on the ESD. The rear tire, which was a tube tire, the spoke had cut and the inner part of the spoke was eating away into the tube.
Okay.
So at one point the tube just, and then my partner thrown up, bike is there, my camera bag, my saddle bag, I'm there. Everybody was scattered. So that was the only time where I think I lost it. I was not able to control. But otherwise, I've not dropped my bike. So for me to tell you which road has been the most challenging, definitely the road in Antarctica has been one of the most challenging because I rode in normal tires. From -22 to -35. I rode in a snowstorm. I had my commander with whom I sailed also with me as a pillion in certain stretches. I rode in this tire. The tire is still here on my wall.
Okay.
So other than that, I think the world categorizes, the world of overlanders categorizes the death road in Bolivia to be the world's most dangerous road. A lot of people in India say the Kishtwar Kilar road is one of the most dangerous is the world's most dangerous. They call it the cliffhanger road. I recently been on that road too. The only challenge between these two roads is this is about 200 kilometers, wherein majority of the section is road under construction.
Okay.
About 50-60 kilometers of road that takes you from Killar towards Udaipur. I found that road a bit interesting. The reason I call it interesting is because the roads are narrow, you have oncoming vehicles, you have tempo travelers. So if two cars are coming in both sides, like it's a little tricky for you to traverse. But I believe this region is more beautiful because you are riding through the Himalayan valley and you have snow-capped peaks all around you. Whereas going into the death road in Bolivia, you are riding in the Amazons, which it's all green, green, green. And I had done about 265 kilometers of the entire North Yunga region, and planning for fuel is important, places to stay, and whether you're able to do it in one day. These are things that you needed to be a little aware. But this road is definitely, I would say, neck and neck. I would not rate either of them 1 and 2. Okay. I would give them both the first place.
Okay.
This one is more people. You see a lot of people around. You see a lot of army movement, road workers movement and things like that. But this is definitely more beautiful. Yeah. Challenging road. I would rate the Dempster Highway, which has not been categorized as one of the most challenging roads.
Where is it, sir?
This is from Dawson City in Canada to Tuktoyaktuk, which kisses the Arctic Ocean. Okay. So this is about 1,000 kilometers. This is definitely because it's all gravel and slush and sand, and the composition is a little tricky. Road of Bones, definitely, it's another challenging road because the roads are washed away by glacial waters, completely isolated roads. You are exposed to grizzly bears, wild dogs. The natural habitat is wild. I can go on. These are all interesting places. Tricky, and it allows you to really put your expertise at play.
Preferred bike brand? Again, I'm not limiting you to a particular brand because you've been sponsored by different brands at
It's like, times. As I said earlier, I sell my dreams on a PowerPoint presentation. Okay. And if a bike company sees value in an association, they do come up and sponsor. But I would definitely go back to 1991, and probably because my mom bought me a YSD and I was so attached to that motorcycle. And YSD then didn't let me down. And, they came up with appropriate support as needed, particularly late Mr. Tempton Irani. His wife is also a good friend even now, Shiraz. And Bomal Irani. These people have been the foundation for, and of course my friends' parents, friends themselves. I don't relate myself to any brand because brand is an absolute option for you to realize what you want to do.
Correct. And again, which is the most hospitable country which you have visited?
In my travels that has taken me across countries, I believe every country is as hospitable as our own country. I can't isolate a particular country by saying, oh, these guys are great, good, bad, or whatever. But one thing that I've realized in Europe is the country is cold, the people are cold, the food is cold, the weather is cold. So if you get my drift as to what I'm trying to tell you, Europe is a place where, with Schengen in place now, there are a lot of cross-border travels. So it's likely that, like in Spain, you will get a person who's Belgian or a German. You go to Germany, chances are you'll get a person who's from France. They're not themselves in their own country, But India is great when it comes to hospitality. Definitely when our smaller villages are fabulous. Even in my most recent experience, the people are absolutely wonderful. But slowly, gradually, that element of suspicion is also seeping in, because money does play a lot of role in anything.
Okay.
Even then, even now, you need to pay right for the services that you avail. There are instances where people have not paid up and disappeared. So that brings an element of doubt in the locals, which I kind of sensed. But they were absolutely, I've known the language of travel. So it's easy for me to convince people and tell them, and of course, I must say that our country is a pioneer in UPI, and even if there is a slightest amount of network, UPI pays.
Correct.
And I'm so happy that, like this time I hardly carried about 5,000 rupees in cash for my 3-week trip.
Wow.
And I must tell you, Shashank, I think I would have used about 120, probably less than 200 rupees in hard cash.
Seriously,
And the rest of my 30,000 transactions were on UPI.
and every place you find network? Whoa, this is something that is,
So there is
really
another backup.
amazing.
There's another way of doing it. Take for example, if the data doesn't go through, I can always call you, Shashank,
Correct.
here's a number. Can you make a UPI transfer of 200 rupees? And I'm back and I pay Shashank 200 rupees. That way. That is also one way of doing it.
Correct. Also,
But I found relatively, as I said, out of 5,000 I carried, I think maximum 200 rupees is what I would have. And that too, that was in Baralachala. For my Maggie. I had to eat a Maggie.
okay. So,
Yeah.
sir, again, is there any dream destination which you haven't explored yet in your bike? I mean, for a road trip.
Yeah.
I'm asking this, to a person who has traveled like 7 continents.
Yeah. There are places, there are many places, but these are all off the grid. These are not tourist destinations. These are all hardcore. There are places where I would like to leave Indian footprint.
Okay. Can you name a few?
No.
No? Okay. Just to ensure that, these travelers on the Instagrammers don't go and spoil it there.
Not like that. I mean, these are not social media consumption.
Oh, okay.
People in social media wouldn't even dream about these things. Forget going there.
Okay. I think, this will be another.
Social media guys, okay, this is a thing for hard hit to the social media guys. These are not Instagram friendly. No, you're not there.
Okay.
And just I'm back into connectivity. Just vomit all the content that you have created.
I think, this is, the concluding part of our podcast. I truly feel I still didn't do justice for this episode because you are like an encyclopedia. I need to make sure that what exactly I need, to pick out, the knowledge which you have gained. Probably for that, we need to connect for another 2 or 3 episodes if you're willing to for it. And thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. And if you have any words to share to the fellow travelers, for our viewers.
Well, I believe travel is personal. I believe I really want to take this opportunity to thank you and Nim Perspective platform for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts around my travels. Over time, I have realized that I connect good on a motorcycle because it gives me the liberty to see the world the way I want it. But I would like to leave my thoughts, my additional thoughts around travel, which is, I have a wife who has been absolutely understanding, my daughter who has been absolutely understanding, and I stay connected with them no matter whichever remote part of the, world I am in. And I always let them know that I will be in an unreachable condition for the next 3 or 4 days or 5 days or so. Don't worry about me. I mean, that's very important, which is communication with your closest family members. 2, I have known friends who are married whose wives do not like to travel on a motorcycle, but the husband should be more caring in a way that as much as he loves to, and this goes for girls as well, he or she loves to travel on a motorcycle, always understand your better half. Because there are situations where I am aware, because of a motorcycle, the family rift has widened. So give your space as much as you would give yourself to your better half as well. Which means that park your motorcycle, take out the car, there's a train, there's a plane, there's a way of reaching a place and then trekking. The idea is to be together. That's really important, which I believe is diluting over a period of time. This is my observation again. So if this reaches the audience who are actually in that, maybe it's going to help them, because in our country, Leh Ladakh is a religion.
Correct.
And a lot of people aspire to do that, leaving their family back home. So if the family is also interested in seeing that region, you may want to think about driving. You may want to think about a conducted trip. Keep your bike aside, travel together. It has more value and meaning. That's something that I would like to highlight. And trash is something that we as a country, we are no less than an African country. I was by Cameroon and I was by the Bay of Guinea, wherein an entire beach was filled with debris thrown back by the ocean. There's no places hundreds of miles apart. And as I'm having the Mount Cameroon in my background, I stop my motorcycle for a picture and then decide to step over into the beach. And I'm shocked to see the entire beach with single-use plastic and debris thrown out by the ocean.
So these are the trash which are thrown in a different place, and they have come over there in these tides.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So there comes a time when, these will not disintegrate over time, right? These are there to stay. And as I said, my experience of seeing the double humpback camels and the black neck crane, walking around in debris is a sour sight to see. It's not really appreciated in one's travel. Such podcasts will help to bring out the reality in travel. It's not me beating my own chest and saying, this is Deepak and I have done this.
Exactly.
But having done this, I've also come to realize that, you can do things differently. And I am doing it differently. What is stopping you from doing it? I don't need a third person to come and clean my trash. If I don't create a trash, and if every traveler in this region going to these places ascertains that, I'm not going to trash this place, the world is a better place to live. Why do you think, we as a country, we are overpopulated? Given any weekend, there will be 50,000 people in every given place.
Exactly.
So the flavor of tourists, the flavor of travel is now limited to tourists. No matter what mere ko dekhna hai, hum nan note le beko. Go to this place, go to that place.
Nandi Hills is one classic example for that.
Yeah.
Because in every weekends, in most of the weekends at least,
everybody wants to go there.
Exactly.
But then that place does not have the bandwidth to accommodate so many people. Now that is a challenge. Most of our peaks are all closed because there's more people. There's stampede happening. Why is stampede happening? It's all this social media thing. I want to take a picture. I want to make a reel. I don't know. I may not be liked for saying these things, but I don't care. I speak my mind.
Correct, sir.
That's what it is. Prove me wrong, and I'll apologize. Prove me wrong.
And
I'm coming with you with visual facts. So I dare you to prove me wrong because you cannot. The facts are there right in front of you. And if you go there, you'll see exactly what I've seen. Unless you want to see it. Chances are our people don't want to look at it, right? Because we are busy taking photos for social media and whatnot.
Exactly, sir.
Stay away from social media. Social media is good to connect. I'm not discouraging people from there, but then do it in a way where you really feel that you are trying to pass on an inspiration to travel. It's not about in my feeds you'll hardly see me. I want to show you the world through my eyes. That's what I want to do. you see the world through my eyes, because how many people can actually step on the continent of Antarctica? And I'm telling you, I'm the only Indian to have done it on my motorcycle.
Wow.
And there are people who have taken ferries and ships there, but their perspective is different. But as a community, when we say that like this is what we have done, it is good to show things through your eyes. The content that you create is always for the rest of the world. It's not about you bragging about what you have done. That, I believe, is very essential in our travel today, which is lost.
And I think, I've seen a lot of these so-called travelers in social media and everywhere. No one has the guts to, openly say that, things are not working in the way which is supposed to be. I think, that takes a lot of courage and knowledge, sir, because...
I was speaking about these things to a couple of friends, closest friends, and they said, like you try to highlight this, you'll become a minority, Deepak. It's okay.
Correct, sir.
If I'm a minority, so be it. But at least somebody is having the guts to speak about these things. If not me, then who? I've seen these things in front of me. And, like particularly, I try to compare my country. Like our administration headed by our Prime Minister is doing so many things to put our country there. Shashank, this message is particularly for the youngsters. I'm past 50, which means half my age is gone, or 70% of my age is done.
Yes, sir.
I've lived my life the way I want it. It's more people like you, you and the rest of them who are particularly in the age group of 25 to 45 are the people who will take this country to the next level. Yes, and me, I look at people at zebra crossings. How many people are impatient to jump that zebra crossing?
Very true, sir.
How many people keep on honking?
There's
Why do you do
civic
that?
sense everywhere, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. I live in a place where I've seen it go from worse to horrendous. It was bad. It became worse. Now it's become horrendous. People from different parts of the country have made Bangalore our home. And I've seen them drive in their part of the state. And that's exactly what they've brought down here. I don't mean to kind of dilute the efforts of these Swiggies and Zomato guys. But do they have any patience on the road? Do they have any etiquettes on the road? They don't. Because these are people who have come in search of jobs into Bangalore. And they are people from all these small towns where there are hardly any roads.
Yes, sir.
Even if there are roads, there's zero road discipline. And these guys have made Bangalore their home. Do they know the etiquettes of Bangalore? Do they know the etiquettes of using the roads in Bangalore? They don't. Again, I'm not trying to dilute their efforts, but some discipline needs to be grilled into these guys, right? Before they are hired.
Yes, sir.
And you can't deliver anything in 30 minutes in Bangalore. Please, guys, stop it. You're ruining our roads. It's lost. Somebody is making money sitting there in their air-conditioned cabins. And it's the pathetic roads in Bangalore that's driving normal people go berserk.
Correct.
Again, as I said, I can go on. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your time. I am truly honored.
As I said, thank you for this platform. I really appreciate you youngsters driving these things. For me, it's been a nice chat with you, Shashank, and I believe people's voices should be heard. I hope I leave a trail of inspiration for people to travel. As I said, I'm an overlander, and it means I can overland on anything. Motorcycle is my choice, but the next best thing can be anything, a train, plane, blah, 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 whatever. But travel is the essence. The world is big and very, very, very beautiful. I use my hashtags as adventures beyond boundaries because I believe other than my own country, we should also try and explore the outside world and give a perspective to life as it should be, because nothing is guaranteed for tomorrow. COVID has been an eye-opener. There's no point in driving a swanky car and running behind a corporate life to pay off your EMIs towards your home loan, your car loan, your X loan, your Y loan. Don't get indebted to debt. And my only two thoughts is draw a line as to where you need to stop. Call yourself retired. Explore the world.
Thank you so much, sir. Honored to have you in our show. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.